Hello, today is Monday, January 11th, 2021. Today you will be reading, analyzing, and answering the questions to the passage of spiders versus insects. Today you will need the passage Spider versus Insects located in your Google Classroom work. And as always, please do not forget to answer the attendance question. And the attendance question under attendance for 6 weeks today is question number 4. Okay, and I'm going to view the question. So in here, the directions, it says proofreading sentences for correct use of end marks, commas, semicolons, and colons. Directions: look for missing punctuation. Sometimes sentence may contain no errors, and if it does, it will say make no change. So we look at the example sentence which says, Simon, did you forget to do your homework? Look at the answer choices. Do we add a question mark at the end of the sentence? Add a comma after the word forget? Add an exclamation mark at the end of the sentence? Or make no change? If I look at the sentence again, Simon, did you forget to do your homework? It does what? It asks a question. Therefore, the answer should be letter A. When you go to your Google Classroom now, and there's the classwork right after the attendance question, you will then find under Unit 4, Informational Text for 6 weeks, the one that you're looking for today, says Analyze the Text Structure, Spiders versus Insects. You click on that and open it up. It is Passage B. Okay, so just a reminder of the nonfiction text structures we have been discussing since last week. Text structure 1, descriptive. Definition, text that provides details or characteristics of a topic. Informational text that paints a mental picture. So again, you have the main topic here in the middle. Outside bubbles are the details to that subject. Text structure number 2 is order and sequence or chronological order. Here you have the subject starting from the top, going down in a flowing motion, one after the other in order. The text that provides steps in a procedure or events in chronological order. So you see words such as first, next, then, and last. Text structure 3 is cause and effect. Here, the text that describes an event or events, which is the cause, and the events that happen afterwards are the effects that follow. Again, you see words such as due to, as a result, consequently. Text structure 4, compare and contrast. Here you have the Venn diagram. Text that describes how two things are similar and different. So again, you have the outside bubbles, which explain how they are unique, they are different from each other. In the middle where they meet is how they are similar. So you'll see words such as similar, alike, different, unlike. On the other hand, text structure 5 is problem and solution. This text that describes a problem and explains one or more solutions. So again, the text will provide a problem, and then right after that, they will provide one or more solutions to the problem within the text. You will then see keywords such as cause, problem, solve as the keywords for those text structures. As we look at the next text, the text you're going to read, it says spiders versus insects. Just like we did last week on Friday, you will read the passage, you will read the paragraphs, and as you are reading the paragraphs, you're going to annotate about who or what is in the section about, and what about the topic do I learn is important. So that's what's going to be here. When you put the escape button, You will see it is not present mode, but you can see the whole page. And these boxes that are to the left are your notes of the who and what is important. That you click on the box, make sure the text box is showing. When you see the little star pop up, you're able to drag that box and drop it into the box where it belongs. So we're going to read paragraphs 1 and 2. Paragraph 1, spiders versus insects. Have you ever shouted, "Get that bug away from me," upon seeing a creepy crawly spider scamper across the floor? While spiders may look a lot like bugs, they're actually in a completely different category. Paragraph 2. Spiders are called arachnids. They have bodies that are split into two segments and have 8 legs. On the other hand, insects or bugs have 3 body segments and only 6 legs. Several types of insects have antennae that allow them to find food and identify objects or predators around them. Spiders lack antennae but do have 2 small palps on the front of their mouths that help in eating their prey. While there are many differences in their bodies, both spiders and insects are called arthropods. This means they have an outside skeleton known as an exoskeleton as well as jointed legs. As a matter of fact, spiders have 6 joints alone on each of their legs. So now let's look at the left. We already know who it's about. It's about spider versus insects. But what about paragraph 1 and 2? What is it talking about? Okay, look at these answer choices closely. Which one would be what it's talking about? It's going to be this one right here. They are different but also have similarities. So you will then take this box and drag it to the number 1 and 2 box for your notes for what paragraph 1 and 2 are about. Let's read paragraph 3. Could you imagine an 8-legged flying spider floating around your living room? Lucky for you, this is not possible. Spiders do not have the ability to fly like insects, but some spiders can jump up to 50 times their body length when hunting for prey. Okay, so again, we already know it's about spiders and insects, but what about paragraph 3 are they talking about? They're talking about flying. So where do you see where it talks about flying? It's right here in this last one. They can't fly like insects, but some can jump high. So then again, you'll drag this box to the number 3 paragraph. Let's read paragraph 4. Paragraph 4. Another important difference between spiders and insects are their eyes. Insects have what are known as compound eyes. This means their eyes contain thousands of different lenses, which is why their eyes often look big and bulgy. In contrast, most spiders have 8 simple eyes, 4 pairs, which contain 1 lens each. Even with these 8 eyes, a spider's vision may not be as clear as ours. So in paragraph 4, again, we know it's spiders and insects, but what about paragraph 4? What is it mostly talking about? It's talking about their eyes. So which one of these talks about their eyes? Right here, this one. They have different types of eyes. So you take this box and drag it all the way to paragraph number 4 notes. Let's read paragraph 5. Paragraph 5. When it comes down to numbers, insects rule. There are over 800,000 different types of insects on the planet. with beetles and flies being the most common. While it's not a small number, there are only 40,000 types of spiders. Both groups are growing, with more insects and spiders being discovered across the world every year. Okay, so now we have two boxes left. We know it's about spiders and insects, but what is it talking about in paragraph 5? Okay, it's talking about numbers, the numbers of species found. So the answer would be right here. Okay, talks about how the insects greatly outnumber the spiders, but both populations are growing. So you take this box, drag it to the number 5, notes for paragraph 5. Let's read the last paragraph. Paragraph 6. Spiders and insects aren't too picky as to where they call home. Both can survive in hot and cold environments, homes, schools, underground, or even in your shoes. Don't get too grossed out. Neither species is going anywhere and will probably outlast all other living creatures. So now let's look at the notes. So here is the last box that's left. Again, it's about spiders and insects. What about paragraph 6? It talks about how both live and can survive in all kinds of places. You'll then drag that box to number 6 paragraph, and that's the notes and annotations for those paragraphs. You will then look here on the right-hand side of the page where it talks about summary. In summary, it's again, summarize the passage BME. B, who or what is the passage about? What does the author hope to communicate about the topic at the beginning of the passage? So in this case, the beginning would be your paragraph 1 and 2. Middle, what about the topic do we learn in the middle of the passage? Middle would be your paragraphs 3 and 4. E, what do we learn about the topic at the end of the passage? The end of the passage would be your paragraphs 5 and 6. So let's click into the text box here. And remember, you put B for beginning. So what is it that we learn in the beginning of the passage? Who and what is it about? Well, first we already know that it's about spiders and insects. Okay, what about the spiders and insects that we learned about in the beginning? Well, first of all, we find out that their bodies are different, right? But it says spiders are arachnids. Because they're considered arachnids, their bodies are split into 2 segments and have 8 legs. Okay, so you put here spiders' bodies are different from insects. And then they also talk about how they are both arthropods, okay? Both species are arthropods, which if you go back to the reading, arthropods means that they both have an outside skeleton, which is an exoskeleton, right? The hard shell is on the outside. Now let's look at the M, middle. Remember, middle is your paragraphs 3 and 4. What do they talk about in paragraphs 3 and 4? Okay, well, in 3, what do we say in 3? Look back at your notes here. What was most important in paragraph 3? That spiders cannot fly, but they can jump high. Okay, so spiders can jump high, but can't fly like insects. Okay, and then in paragraph 4, what does it talk about? That they have different eyes. You can say that both have different types of eyes. Now for the end. At the end, which is paragraphs 5 and 6, what does it talk about? Paragraph 5, what do we say it said here? That insects greatly outnumber the spiders. Okay, so insects greatly outnumber spiders, but both populations are growing. Okay, and another important thing that's right here in paragraph 6 is that they can survive all kinds of places. Okay, so both species can outlive all other living creatures. Or you can say they can survive all kinds of places, like it says there in the notes. So this is your beginning, your middle, your end. Again, this is paragraphs 1 and 2. Middle was paragraphs 3 and 4. The end of paragraphs 5 and 6. Remember, this is a recording, so you can always pause and look at the video so that you're able to catch up and type in what you need to put on your work. The next slide, slide number 4, we then again look at the text structure like we did last week. So here we talk about the 5 different text structures we're talking about over this next week. Compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem solution, description, sequence. What type of text structure do you think is passage B of spiders versus insects? You might have guessed it is the first one, compare and contrast, because they are comparing the spiders versus the insects. So here in the text structure, you're going to type in compare and contrast. Now over here on the next session where it's asking for what type of keywords are used in there, those are the keywords you find throughout the readings. What kind of text structure, what kind of words helped you to know that it's going to be compare and contrast? If you go back to the readings, you'll see words such as differences. We see the words on the other hand. Those are the kinds of words that you see that are keywords so that you know that it's compare and contrast. Okay, so again, text evidence would be similar to what you see here. Again, you see a lot of words. You see the words differences over and over again in the passage. You see, on the other hand, also being used also in the passage as text evidence that it is comparing and contrasting. Okay, if you also go back right here in the second one, it says, while there are many differences in their bodies, both spiders and insects are called arthropods. So you see that word both. So both would be another word to show how they are the same. Okay, so you can type in here the word same as another text evidence. On the next section, you will see the Venn diagram. In the Venn diagram, here you have three things to find that are unique to spiders, three things that are unique to insects, and in the middle, three things that make them the same. So you have to go back to the passage and what three things make spiders unique from insects or make it that only belongs to spiders? Well, first of all, spiders are arachnids. Okay, so that would be one difference. They are considered arachnids. Okay, another difference. Okay, it says, look here, on the other hand, insects have three body segments and only six legs. Several types of insects have antennae that allow them to find food. Okay, spiders lack antennas. So this is something that the insects have that the spiders do not. Okay, so that would be another difference for insects, the antenna. Antennae is what insects have, but spiders do not. Okay, what else do they have differences in? Okay, it also talks about how because they lack the antenna, they do have two small palps in the front of their mouth. So that makes that unique for the spider. The two palps are the two things that look like right here. So for spiders, they have palps instead of antenna. Okay, and you continue reading here. It says even though they're both different, they both, which means they have the same, they are both called arthropods. So that would be what you find in the middle because that's what they have the same. Okay, arthropods. Okay, then you continue going down. It says here that it's not possible for spiders to fly. So instead of flying, what they do is they jump very high. So again, that would be a difference. So insects can fly instead of flying. For spiders, they jump high. Okay, and another difference here they say is that spiders and insects again are in their eyes. Insects have what's known as compound eyes. So here you're going to put here that they have compound eyes. Okay, and then again, what do they have that is the same? Well, you can see here, look, there's that word both again. Both groups are growing. So that would be what they have in common. Both groups are growing. And then the last one, especially in paragraph 6, you notice it says that they both say what right here? Neither species is going anywhere and will probably outlast all other living creatures. So that means that they're both right here. They both survive in hot and cold environments. So that's what they both also have the same. So you can say they both survive in all kinds of places. Okay. Survive in all kinds of places. Okay, so I'm going to zoom that in for a little bit so that you guys can look at this, and if you need to pause the video at this time you can, so that you can type in what you are missing. So again, this is the text structures part with the text evidence. Then you scroll down, we have the Venn diagram. This is what the Venn diagram has. Okay, and now on the right-hand side of the screen or the page is two different kinds of places where you're going to use check marks. So right here it says, according to the passage, which of these do spiders and insects have in common? So what do they have the same? There's boxes of check marks that all you have to do is drag them so you see which ones do they have in common. How are they similar? Are they similar? So let's look at the list. Eyes. Do they both have eyes? Yes, it doesn't say specifically what kind of eyes, but they do both have eyes. So again, you click on it, make sure the little cross comes out so you're able to drag your check mark to the line. Do they both have habitats? Yes, they do have habitats. So you put that check mark there. Do they both have numbers of body segments? Yes, they have different numbers of body segments, but they both have a number of body segments. So that's a check mark there. Do they both have a certain number of species? Yes, they both have different numbers, but they both have quite a large number of species. Last one, they are both arthropods. And again, that's yes, because if you look back at the passage, arthropods again refers to the insects and spiders having an exoskeleton or a skeleton on the outside of the body, which they both have. So you click this last check mark and drag it to the last one there so that they should all be checked because that's what they all have in common. On the other chart now, the table there, we have description, and then it's either belongs to a spider or belongs to the insect. So let's look at the clues. Okay, clue says it can fly and has 3 body segments. Well, right away, this first one should give you a clue. What's the only one that can fly? That is the insect. Spider cannot fly. It also does not have 3 body segments. Because if we go back to the passage, it tells you how many segments do the spiders have. They are split in 2. Okay, going back to the chart, found in most habitats. Well, that could be either one. Look at the second one. Compound eyes. So which is the one that had compound eyes? Again, where did I talk about the eyes? Go back to the passage. Right here. Another important difference between the spiders and insects are their eyes. Insects have what are known as compound eyes. So who has the compound eyes? Insects. Okay, so you go back here, and the check mark should belong to insects. And the last one says 8 legs and has palps. So if you don't remember you go back to the passage. Where did I talk about 8 legs and palps? Well, remember the palps, it's right here. So what does it say? Spiders lack antennae, but they do have 2 palps. Also talks about the legs. Talks about how their bodies are split into 2 segments and have 8 legs. So that would be your spider. You then take another check mark and check under spider. Okay, so that's what your chart should look like. Okay, again, I'm going to leave it there for a little bit. So in case you need to pause the video at this time, you may pause the video so that you can make sure all your check marks are in place. Okay, so now once you're done, this is what your passage should look like. Making sure you do have your annotated paragraphs or sections in order the way they are read in the paragraphs. Making sure you have your BME or summarization passage typed out. And on slide 4, making sure you have done the text structure questions, the Venn diagram, and then the last part, the little checking table and chart to be filled out about the differences and similarities between spiders and insects. That is all for today. There will not be any homework, but tomorrow is your asynchronous day. So you will work on something again tomorrow on your own, which has to do with text structures. Thank you and have a wonderful day.